Grandpa, look! The lights are dancing!
They certainly are, my dear.
It's magic!
A sick child, a worried grandfather, and the unforgiving winter. Then, a miracle in the wind changed everything. A long time ago, in a small village near the mountains of Andes Mountains, there lived a little girl named Leela. She lived with her mother and grandfather in a tiny stone cottage with a red roof. The wind often whistled through the hills, and wildflowers covered the valleys in spring. Leela's family was very poor. Her grandfather was a shepherd who took care of other people's sheep, and her mother baked bread to sell in the nearby town. Their cottage stood on the edge of a wide meadow with snowy mountain peaks rising in the distance. In summer, the days were bright and warm. Butterflies danced in the sunlight, and the river nearby sparkled like silver. Leela loved to sit outside and listen to her grandfather play soft tunes on his old wooden flute. He taught her the names of the mountain flowers and told her stories about the stars. But when winter came, everything changed. The mountains turned white with snow. The wind grew sharp and cold. The sheep were kept inside, and the meadow became silent. The river froze, and even the sky seemed pale and tired. That winter, Leela became very sick. At first, it was just a small cough. Her mother made warm soup and wrapped her in thick blankets, but the cough grew worse. Leela became weak and stopped going outside. She no longer asked her stories or smiled at her grandfather's music. A doctor from the town came riding on a mule to see her. He examined Leela carefully and then spoke softly to her family. "She is very ill," he said. "Many children in nearby villages are falling sick this winter. We do not know why. I am sorry. There is little I can do. Keep her warm. Give her nourishing food. Let her rest." After the doctor left, the cottage felt colder than ever. Days passed. Leela stayed in bed, staring at the wooden ceiling. Her cheeks lost their color. Some nights she had a fever and dreamed of running freely across the meadow, chasing golden sunlight. One morning, after a long and restless night, Leela opened her eyes and saw her grandfather sitting beside her. "Is there something you wish for, my little star?" he asked gently. "Yes," Leela whispered. "I miss the sound of your flute. I miss music. Could you hang something above my bed that moves when the wind blows? Something beautiful, so I can pretend the wind is singing to me again?" Her grandfather smiled, though his heart felt heavy. Outside, the snow was falling, and the wind was strong. He had no money to buy toys or decorations, but he wanted to give her hope. That day, while tending the sheep in the cold, he thought deeply. "I will make her something with my own hands," he said to himself. That night, after dinner, he gathered thin pieces of wood, scraps of colored cloth, and small silver bells that once belonged to his late wife. His first attempts did not go well. The wooden shapes were too thick and heavy. They did not spin or dance in the air. One by one, he placed the failed pieces into the fireplace. Midnight came. Snow tapped against the window. Then he had an idea. "I will make a wind dancer," he whispered. He carved a light wooden circle and attached delicate wooden leaves around it. From the bottom, he hung tiny bells and strips of bright cloth. He worked slowly and carefully, sanding the wood smooth so it would catch even the smallest breeze. By early morning, his hands were tired, but the wind dancer was ready. Leela's mother helped him tie strong threads to hold it together. She added small stitches to secure the cloth pieces. When they finished, it looked magical, simple but full of color and life. Her grandfather quietly entered Leela's room and hung the wind dancer above her bed. When Leela woke, she saw it turning gently in the soft morning air. The bells made the faintest, sweetest sound. Her eyes widened. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "What is it called?" Her grandfather paused. "I'm not sure yet," he said with a smile. "I will tell you soon." The next day, Leela tried to sit up to touch it. It spun lightly above her reach. The day after that, she knelt on her bed, stretching her fingers toward the moving colors. Each night, when she was asleep, her grandfather quietly raised the wind dancer a little higher. 3 days later, Leela stood carefully on her bed, holding onto the wall. Her legs were weak, but her eyes were bright. "Grandfather," she said, breathing softly, "what is its name?" "Very soon," he replied. A week later, as her grandfather was outside feeding the sheep, he heard laughter, clear, joyful laughter coming from the cottage. He rushed inside. There was Leela, standing firmly on her bed, reaching up and finally touching the spinning wind dancer. The bells rang brightly as it twirled. "I touched it," she cried. "Tell me its name." Her grandfather felt tears in his eyes. "It is called the Wind of Hope," he said gently. Her mother stood in the doorway, smiling as she watched her daughter laugh, stronger, brighter, and full of life once again. And from that day on, whenever the mountain winds blew, the little wind dancer spun happily above Leela's bed, reminding her that even in the coldest winters, hope can still move the heart. Stories don't just touch our hearts, they also build our language. Let's learn a few meaningful words from this story to improve our vocabulary and understanding. Shepherd, meaning a person who takes care of sheep. Example, the shepherd walked with his sheep across the meadow. Meadow, meaning a wide, open field covered with grass and flowers. Example, the child dreamed of running freely in the meadow. Whispered, meaning spoke very softly or quietly. Example, she whispered because she was weak and tired. Nourishing, meaning healthy and good for the body. Example, her mother gave her nourishing food to help her recover. Twirled, meaning moved or spun around quickly. Example, the wind dancer twirled as the bells rang brightly. This story hides secrets. Can your eyes find them? I am made of wood and cloth. I dance but have no feet. I sing yet have no voice. I gave strength without medicine. What am I? Answer: the wind dancer. One sound proved that everything had changed. It came from inside the cottage, and it was heard by someone outside. What was the sound? Answer: the laughter. At night, I grew taller without moving. No one saw me rise, but every morning I was farther away. What am I? Answer: the wind dancer hanging above the bed. I never spoke, never touched the child, yet I made her stronger every day. What am I? Answer: the wind or moving air. I was not named when I was born. I was named when hope returned. I move when the mountains breathe. What is my name? Answer: the wind of hope. If you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe. It brings more magical stories and puzzles to you. And join our journey through amazing tales and mysteries.